Hey folks, welcome to a Let's Learn Dungeons & Dragons with Togoff. I know many of you have been waiting for this, and here it is. What I'm mainly going to do is try and organize all of this into different chapters, and different ways for you to see what's going on. There's way too much in the game to explain in just a 10-minute video, so this should be enough to kind of help you out. I am not going to cover everything in the game. There's just simply too much. What I am going to cover is the basics, what you need to learn to play, what you need to do to set up a group, but you still will probably need to read the rule book a little bit, still need to really look through things to get a good understanding. So, without further ado, let's begin. An introduction to D&D. This is a pen and paper game. Basically, it's just as it says, sitting around a table with a bunch of friends with pen and paper. There's obviously a little bit more to it, which I'll get into, but we'll start going over it. How is this different from computer games? The first thing you have to realize in Dungeons & Dragons is that it's virtually unlimited in what you can do. The biggest annoyance I have in video games is that there's so many times I want to do something, but the programmers just haven't put it in. There's times where I want to argue a certain way, or go to a certain area, or ask a certain question, and you just can't because the programmers can't do that. It would be way too much. So what Dungeons & Dragons allows you to do is have virtually unlimited solutions to a problem, where a computer game might only have 3 or 4. And there might also be places that you can't get past. Remember, it's not beating a computer game. It's trying to progress a story and trying to advance a storyline in many cases. And while it's similar to a computer game in that fashion, you can kind of see just in what you can do, you really are limited only by your imagination and your mind, and only by the imagination and the mind of the dungeon master, the person leading it, which is what the big key difference between the two. And what makes it fun? Just that. The fact that you can do virtually anything in the game. If your character wants to fly, well, as long as it's cleared with the rest of the group and the dungeon master, he can fly. Does your character read minds? Well, there are psionics and everything. There's whole rule books written for that. And so what it basically allows you to do is do anything, and sitting around a table with very close friends, having a great time, telling a story. It would almost be like if you have a great imagination, being one of those heroes from some of your favorite fantasy novels, acting as one of those characters, having to make the choices they made, having to do the things that they did, not following a linear storyline. You're literally able to do whatever you want as long as the DM and the players agree with it, and as long as it keeps it fun. Obviously, a character that can swing his sword and slaughter entire cities with one swing wouldn't really be all that fun, at least to our group. But you know what I'm saying with that. I'm trying to do an exaggeration, but the most important thing, is there a right way to play? No. There is no correct way to play Dungeons & Dragons. The rules, and even the rules that I'm going to lay out to you, are basically guidelines. You're allowed to bend any of them, tweak any of them, do whatever you want to make your group work. And I'll point out examples of what the rules say and what our group does, because we do have some key differences in what we do, and it's all about what works best for your group. Now with this, there is 2 major ways of playing. There is the min-maxing way and the role-playing way. And there's blends of both of them. But the min-maxing way is basically you're rolling up characters to be the best that they can possibly be in certain specific situations. A warrior who has a great build, well, a fighter in D&D, has a great build, has great setup and everything. The race is right, the stat allocation is right, everything like that is min-maxing, is trying to make the best potential character possible. The other way, which our group tends to do more of, is the role-playing way. Togoff from my Dragon Age Origins videos is a perfect example of that. A berserking elf is a little bit ridiculous with a big 2-handed sword. No one's heard of that. Well, obviously they have, but That's what makes it fun, though, for us, is having those characters that are a little bit more memorable. And we talk, and our group goes into whole things. We've done court cases, so to speak, and some of our guys are standing up as lawyers and really shouting and defending and really going it, and just allowing yourself to really immerse yourself in the world. It makes it a lot more fun. But, alright, enough of that. What do you need to start playing this game? The first thing you will need is the D&D Player Handbook version 3.5. You can find it on Amazon, pretty much anywhere where they're selling books. Barnes & Noble has them, I think, wherever. There is a 4th edition out right now. I don't use it. The rest of my group doesn't use it. We don't like it. We're actually using a rule set now called Pathfinder, but 3.5 is a great way to get started. That's what I got started on. No, I got started on 2, actually. But 3.5 is where I've done most of my gaming. And so that's where I think you'll really get a good grasp of what's going on. The second thing you will need is a set of dice. You'll need, at bare minimum, one of each of these. A 20-sider, 12-sider, 10-sider, 8-sider, 6-sider, and 4-sider as shown below. All of these I would recommend getting a ton of. You can buy a pound of dice on Amazon, which is what I did. There's going to be times where people will say roll 3d6, and we'll get that terminology, roll 4d20. And what does that mean? You may have seen that in the games, Neverwinter Nights or something like that, or Knights of the Old Republic. What it means, the first number is how many dice you're rolling. The second number is the sides of the dice. So 4d6 is 4 6-sided dice. 2d20 is 2 20-sided dice, etc. The only other screwy one is something called the percentile, which is 2 10-sided dice. If you have a lot of 10-sided dice will sometimes say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever on them. Other ones will just have the single numbers on them. It's not required to have ones with the 50, 60, as long as you have 2 different colored ones and you call one. Alright, purple is 10s, greens is 1s. Roll it, 63, whatever. So, that's what you'll need bare minimum for dice. Finally, I wanted to go into rolling of the stats. There are tons and tons of different ways to roll the stats. I'm not going to go into them because you can Google them, you can go wherever you want. What our group does is we set up 6 columns and we roll 4d6, we drop the lowest, we re-roll any 1s, and we re-roll any sum less than 10. So if 3 of the dice only equal 9 or 8, we re-roll the entire set. And we'll organize it, as you can see here, into 6 columns like that. Once you're done rolling all 36 stats there, you'll pick one column, and that'll be your character stats. I'll go into what all the character stats are and everything like that, but that's how we do it. There's a point system that people use. There's other ways, 5d6 drop 2. There's plenty of different ways. This is what works for us. This is what we like. But as I said in the first slide there is no right way to play. This is whatever works best for your group. And so, folks, I'm going to cut it off here with the introduction. I hope you enjoyed this so far. I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into it. And I hope you continue to tune in to other episodes. So as always, folks, thank you very much for watching, and tune in to the other lessons. Thanks for watching, folks.